Hey guys, today we are doing the treble cluster granny square, and we are going to start with a slip knot. And if you need any help on the basic stitches, knots, I have other videos that you can watch for those. And we're going to do chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we are going to go into this very first chain and do a slip stitch. So you're going to see how it kind of makes a U like that, and that's going to actually bring our circle together. So you yarn over and go through both, pull it all the way through. And then I kind of put my finger right here just to hold its place, because if not, this hole right here, a lot of people will kind of go through that hole and think that that's the hole that they're supposed to be working on. So I'm going to cinch everything down, and then I'm going to take my tail and kind of move it over and roll all of this over, and I'm going to work on the left side of the tail. And then I'm going to chain 4, which is going to act as the first treble. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to do a treble crochet into the ring. So a treble is yarn over, in the ring, out of the ring, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. And cinch everything down. And then I'm going to do chain 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to do a treble cluster. So 2 treble clusters. So treble cluster is very similar to a treble, but you leave a couple of loops on. So I'll show you how to do that. So yarn over. So you start it just like a treble, and then yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then stop there instead of taking it off that last 2, and then you start another treble. Yarn over, and pull off 2, yarn over, pull off 2, yarn over, pull off 2, and then you have 3, and this is why it makes the cluster. Yarn over and pull off 3, and then that's a treble cluster. And then we are going to chain 5 for our first corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get a little bit more yarn. And then we're going to do another treble cluster. So yarn over, into the circle, out of the circle, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over, through 2, we have 3, and then yarn over through 3, and then that's your treble cluster again. And then we're going to do chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do another chain or another treble cluster, and I'm going to squish around on my circle, and then you can really see that square taking place. So yarn over through the circle, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, through 2, and then we have the 3, yarn over, and all 3. And then we're to our next corner. So we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do push that around, and then we're going to do another treble cluster. Yarn over off 2, yarn over off 2, cinch everything down, yarn over, yarn over off 2, yarn over, off 2, and now we have 3, yarn over, off 3. So then we're going to do 1, 2. And then another treble cluster. Oh, I just did a treble. Let me back up. Do that one again. Off 2, leave 2 on, and then yarn over, and then 2, and then 2, and then you have 3, and then take 3 off. And then we're going to do chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Squish all this around. So we have 2 corners so far, and this is going to be our next corner. And now we're doing 2 treble clusters. And then 3, and take that off. Push it around. And then chain 2. 1, 2. And then 1 more treble cluster. And 3, take that off. And then we're going to do our last corner. So chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've already done this side over here. So we're going to go, I call this the magic hole right there. So here's your chains, and then that hole right there is where we're going in. So you're going to go into that hole. Because I find if you put it into any of these, it kind of pulls on it. So I like putting it right behind, right there in that hole. And then yarn over, and then you're going to slip stitch 1 more time and cinch it down, cut, and then pull through just to finish that off. And then you're gonna, make your little square, and then you'll come back and you can cinch this down, and then come back and weave those in. But that's round 1 of our treble cluster granny. And then we are going to get started on round 2. We are ready for round 2. So we're going to make a slip knot. And then we're going to go in between the treble clusters. So we're going to go into any one on this one, and then attach with a slip stitch. So you yarn over, pull through, and then we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to act as a treble crochet. And then we're going to add another treble, and treble is yarn over, insert through the hole, back through the hole, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a treble cluster. So yarn over, pull through, 2 and 2, and then we're going to yarn over, go back through the hole, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then we have 3 on the loop. So you pull that off. Now we're to our first corner, and we're going to do a treble cluster. Yarn over, pull through, and then 1 more. pull through 2, pull through 2, and there's our 3, and pull through. So there's a cluster. Then we're going to do chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we are going to come on this side and do another treble cluster. Off 2, off 2, and there's your 3, and that's what makes your cluster. Now we are going into the chain 2 of the treble clusters on this side, and we're going to put a treble cluster and then a chain 2 and another treble cluster. Sometimes my hands work a little faster than, or my brain works a little faster than my hands. Okay, so that's our first treble, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then another treble cluster. And now we're to our next corner, and we're going to do a treble cluster, and then a chain 5 and another treble cluster. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and there's our 3 to make it the cluster. And then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And turn it around, and we're going to make our treble cluster here. Through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, and then there's our 3 loops. Now we're back to the side, and we're going to go right in here in the middle, and we're going to make a treble cluster. So there's the first one. And then we're going to chain 2. And then another treble cluster into that same space. There's our 3 to make it the cluster. And now we're to our corner again. And that's 1, and we're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I kind of rotate it around, and we're going to do another treble cluster. And now we're to the last side over here, and so we're going to do a treble cluster, chain 2, and treble cluster. And then chain 2. And then another treble cluster. Take off 2, take off 2, take off 2, take off 2, and then we have our 3. There we go. Now we are on our last corner. So we're going to do cluster, treble cluster, chain 5, treble cluster. This is our first treble cluster. And there's there's the 3 to make it the cluster, and we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then another treble cluster, yarn over, pull off 2, pull off 2, yarn over, pull off 2, pull off 2, and then all 3. And then we are all the way back here, and so we are ready to cinch off, and we are going to find that magic hole right there. So this is the top of the chain, and I like to go on the back side because if you attach to the front side, it's going to pull. So if you attach to the back side and yarn over and slip stitch 1 and then slip stitch 1 more time and then cut and then pull through, and then you want to kind of box out your square. So just kind of pull it until it's a square. And then we are getting ready to start round 3. Okay, we are ready for round 3, and I'm going to use this blue color. So you're going to make a slip knot. And then you fastened off right here from round 2. And so we're going to go into the next chain 2 space, which is right here. And we're going to make a slip stitch. And then same thing that we've done the last 2 rounds, we're going to chain 4. And that's going to act as our first our first treble. And then we're going to add a treble right here. And then the 2 of these, that chain and the treble, are going to act as a cluster. So then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a treble cluster in that same space. Got a little knot. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, we are ready for round 3. So we're going to do a slip stitch. And then we are going to attach, so we finished round 2 and we stopped there. So the next chain 2 space, we are going to attach with a slip stitch. And we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we are going to do a treble. And then we're going to do a chain 2. And then we're going to do a treble cluster. For 2 loops, 2 loops, 2 loops, 2 loops, and now we have 3, which makes it the cluster. Okay, now we're going to get to our first corner, and we are going to put 2 clusters in each corner. So a treble cluster, chain 5, treble cluster, treble cluster. So that's our first treble cluster, and then another treble cluster. And then there's the 3 to make it the cluster. And then we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to put in 2 more treble clusters. So that's our first one. And then we're going to put in our second one. And then we're going to come to the chain 2 of the side, and we're going to put in a cluster, a treble cluster. Oh, I had 4, so I must have done something. Hang on, let me do that one again. You should have 3, so if there's 4 on there, something didn't work out. Let's try that one again. There we go. So now we have 3. Okay, so once we do those 2, we're going to do chain 2. 1, 2, and then another treble cluster. And there's the 3. Okay, so now we're at our corner again, and we're gonna do the same thing we did at this corner. So we're gonna do treble cluster and another treble cluster. So 2 treble clusters, chain 5, 2 treble clusters. Then we're gonna come around here and do treble cluster, chain 2 treble cluster, and so forth around. And so I am going to meet you back here. Okay, we are around to that last corner, and we are going to attach, and again we look for that little magic circle or hole, and you're going to do a slip knot or slip stitch. Go through, cinch down, and then slip stitch 1 more, and then grab your scissors, snip, and pull through, and then give it a little tug on all your corners and pull it straight so that you have your square. And then so this is it for this video. This is round 1 of the treble cluster granny square, and then I will do another video on round 4, 5, and 6, so part 2. Have a great day.